Next conversation on the program, analyzing President Tinubu's economic policies, budget financing and debt management. The federal government is under immense criticism for its failure to finance the 2025 budget. Analysts are raising concerns over increased foreign and domestic debt, despite improved revenue accruals to the federal coffers. The big question is, where is the money? To help us make sense of this drama, here is in the studio, we have Dr. Ibrahim Saleh, a public affairs analyst. And of course, we made, a approach, and then we contacted the presidential spokespersons. One of them promised that he will be here. Unfortunately, up to this moment, he hasn't arrived. But we hope before the end of the program, he will join us. Now, Dr. Bashir, just a day or two, now the National Assembly approved a loan of over 1.5 trillion for the president. And this is coming just a few days after the president said they have stabilized and no more domestic debts. Unfortunately, this debt is also domestic. So where do we situate what the president said and the reality on ground?
My take on the whole issue is that every critical observer is not in doubt that the country at the moment doesn't have fiscal discipline. When you look at the world, you look at some developing countries where you see sustainability, accountability, and clear case of good debt management. If you compare to what we have here, you can see clearly that we have issues. Right from the takeoff of the government, a critical observer would say that there were documents on reform that were already on ground for public service reform, for reduction of overheads and so on, that were kept in abeyance. Nothing has been done about them. What we have seen clearly is increase on overheads generally. We are not seeing any sacrifices being made. We are not seeing any clear reform except on paper. So essentially, I expect that the debt will keep rising, because if whatever you are doing is not premised on sincerity of purpose, if what you are doing is more of propaganda, and what you are doing is more of trying to woo politicians to be on your side, instead of clear case of reform that will trickle down to the general public. So clearly we're in for trouble. Honestly, those of us that are from the hinterland, we have farms, we go to our farms, we meet the locals. You hear when the government will tell you that it has spent almost 300 and something billion on issue of poverty. You ask, who are the beneficiaries?
And you ask the people?
Yes, you ask, you don't see anybody. So they tell you, no, it has been wired to who? So you go to Jabi Park, see destitutes. Go to our state in Sokoto and so on. Go and see the poor and the underprivileged. Nothing reaches them. So what we are saying is essentially is that we have a system whereby most of these things are on paper. But practically, honestly, there isn't much to share.
And these people you are talking about in the villages at Jabi Park and all that, you and me, we are all indebted.
Of course.
Because as of June, from the Debt Management Office, Nigeria is indebted to 152.9 trillion. I made a simple calculation and realized that besides the latest loan now, to share the debt to all of us, 230 million naira. You are indebted to 660,000 naira, 870.
Yes.
Do you think some Nigerians, how many Nigerians will pay this debt now? For instance, for the country to be liberated. I'm trying to put it in context that, okay, you tell somebody in your village that, look, you are indebted to 660,000 naira. What will they say?
You see, I am pained to even be discussing issues of this nature. The reality on ground is that those who go to the market, those who have farms that security has deprived of going to even tilt and be on their own, those that are supposed to pay for school fees, they cannot afford. Those that are sick, that want to go to the hospital, they cannot afford, and so on and so forth. When you look at these figures, and you look at the level of transparency, and you look at the options that are there that are not being explored, what are we talking about? Some of the projects that you are hearing, bogus projects that you hear about, the roads and so on, most of these things can be done through PPP, public-private partnerships.
But will the partners be willing to come? When earlier you said there is no, accountability and then transparency in
so that was why I was saying that right from the beginning, if you structure the system to be transparent, to be reform-oriented, like we are seeing in some countries. We are in a global environment. Those countries where there is good governance, you see it clearly. Where issues are not straight, nobody needs to tell you. You will know that for sure things are not going as they should. Because what you see is humongous payments to National Assembly members, humongous contract sums and so on and so forth. But when you come to the ground to look at the critical areas of the economy, where in this country would you go to a city and you open your tap, there is water running? Where will you go in this country that you and I can take our children to public schools? Where will you go in this country that you can walk into a public hospital and be comfortable? So what we're talking about is that when you look at the whole environment, it's just gloom. But on paper, you see ceremonies and projects and so on. But in reality, honestly, we're not on course.
Some governors recently said they get almost 4 times what they used to get pre-May 2023. Yes. I keep asking, okay, where is the money?
The money goes into huge contracts.
But do they execute the contracts? But that is where the problem is.
What I'm saying in essence is that we are all responsible for what is going on. It's not just those in government. Some of us are supposed to be gatekeepers. Some of us are supposed to challenge these things going on.
But this is what we are doing, especially
exactly.
the media.
So what I'm saying in essence is that if somebody comes to tell you that he is constructing a conference hall for 30-something billion, just refurbishment, instead you can go to Ghana, check such things, go to Egypt, go to any of these countries and see the kind of projects they have, and you see the cost. Then you know clearly what is happening is not transparent. So what I'm saying in essence is that there are projects. Some are doing well, certainly some are doing well. But in all honesty, when you look at the parameters based on global best practice, honestly, we are not on course.
The latest loan, this 1.5 trillion, according to the presidency, is to bridge the deficit of almost 14 trillion. And people are asking that, okay, this money is for which of the budgets? I, as a journalist, am yet to really understand which budget we are implementing. Is it the 2023? Is it 2024 budget or 2025? We try to ask government officials, but they are always reluctant. Of course, one of them said that the revenue that they are generating in 2025 is what they are using to fund the 2024 budget. Now, who do you really blame for this mix-up? Is it the National Assembly? Because both the Senate and the House of Representatives endorsed this latest, borrowing. Should they continue doing that?
As I said, right from the beginning, there were things that happened before our eyes. How the leadership of the National Assembly itself came about. To be honest, the freedom to install leadership that is representative was not given. There was interference. There was not. So clearly, whatever is happening is planned for. We are seeing more of politicking, more of effort to remain in power, more of effort to propagate that something is happening. But as I said, in reality, we have issues. And those of them at the center there, the National Assembly and certain places, those who came out to speak were persecuted. We saw it. So we are into a kind of system whereby it is safer for some of them to just tag along and be quiet for their own safety.
Instead of asking questions.
Only the courageous, those that would dare everything can speak, even to speak the truth.
Okay, then who will build the cat? But before you answer this, I want to grab your indulgence. We will open the telephone line for our viewers, at least one or two, to call in and chip into this conversation. Viewers, it is now time for you to use the telephone line that will be displayed on your screen and call. We have limited time. Go straight to the point and tell us who will build the cat. Thank you. Now, who will now change the narrative? Because some people are saying governors can also, turn the tide in favor of the poor.
But certainly, if you look at the structure, the local governments are supposed to be functional. There was a Supreme Court judgment about that. Where is that issue today? It is still in abeyance. Supreme Court judgment.
Yeah, but then I think this is not the problem of President Tinubu.
What I'm saying in essence is that if the system will work properly, there are certain responsibilities, certain obligations that are within local government. There are certain responsibilities and obligations within the state, and there are certain obligations and responsibilities at the federal level. But certainly, the leadership at the national level, with the structure of the anti-corruption agencies, with the structure of the entire security apparatus at the disposal of whoever is leading at the center. Honestly, the onus is more on whoever is there leading at the center. If there is sincerity, if there is leadership by example, and if there are sanctions, certainly some of these things will not be happening.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello? Okay, we lost it. Now, the problem many Nigerians are trying to find a solution to is, okay, the year is inching, towards the end. And already state governors, they have started, reading out their budget. Should the federal government have another budget for 2026? Or we should find a way of, bringing together the pieces of the budgets that we find difficult to even comprehend?
You have said it all at the beginning. In all honesty, these things are not as transparent as they should be. Within the framework provided by IMF and World Bank, issue of debt is classified into about three major components: sustainability, transparency, and good debt management. What do we have? What do we have out of these three?
Okay, if we don't have any, why is IMF still giving us loans? Because it's like they are our biggest lenders now. But we have a call. I will give you the opportunity to answer this. Yes, hello, welcome to the program.
Good evening, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you for answering my call.
Thank you, yes.
I commend Ibrahim Saleh. He's a very good person.
Thank you. Okay, what is your take on the conversation? Should Nigeria continue borrowing? Hello? Unfortunately, we lost the call. So I said, when you check the figures out there, it's like IMF, World Bank, they keep giving the green light for Nigeria to borrow. Who should do the introspection for us?
There is a benchmark, actually, when you look at issue of debt to GDP ratio. the benchmark is between 50, 55 to 30 at the lowest level. The benchmark we set for ourselves in this country is about 40%. But we are hovering around 52.
Meaning we have crossed the
Yes,
line.
of course, we have crossed. But the crossing or the benchmark issue is not the main worry. It's not the main worry. The main worry is that if you borrow, what are you using it for? What are you using it for?
So if I understand,
Yes.
you are also, like many others, not against borrowing.
Honestly,
But
as a country,
managing what is borrowed.
So the issue is that if you put the whole budget for 5-6 years in one place, and you want to service the issue of rail in this country, standard gauge rail across the lines that we require in the country, the budget for 6 years will not do it.
But they said they are building Sokoto, Badagiri, and then, Lagos, Calabar.
You see, what some of us are seeing is clearly an issue of government eager to award huge contracts. Honestly, because who is traveling by road today? You and I fly most of the time. Everybody is on sale. Everybody is afraid to travel.
So what is your final word in a word or two?
My final word is that this country is the only country we have. We do not have any other country other than this one. It is in our best interest and that of future generation to be sincere and focus on nation building sincerely.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim Saleh, for coming to our studio and for your perspective on the burden.
Thank you very much.
On all our heads. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap on today's package. As I said earlier, we expected one of the spokespersons of the president to come, who had given actually a commitment to be here. Unfortunately, he is not. We hope that next time they will honor our invitation. And this brings us to the end of today's package. Join us on Sunday for Sunday Politics. From here, I am Hamza Idris. Good night.